All right. Let's see. Should be going live. Let's see if this activated on our Facebook page. Hold on one second. Yep. Okay, it's working. Good. Guys, welcome back. We are so excited that you're here. Today's episode is all about business and psychic mediumship. This is a common theme that comes up from our clients. This is something that we get asked all the time, right?
Yes, because it's these three key beliefs. And if you don't have these three key beliefs, then your business starts to go in the opposite direction of what you want it to.
Right.
So we noticed that with these three key beliefs, with your psychic medium business, your skills, you're a powerful psychic medium, you give really good readings, we're assuming that. And then you have these three key beliefs, your psychic medium business will continue to grow exponentially.
And this is something that you might think, oh, it's just practice, but it's actually not. There's more to mediumship. There's more to carrying out your mission. And this is very common. We've worked with thousands of psychic mediums all around the world. Some people are brand new to this work, and other people that have been doing it for 30 years. And there's definitely a common theme. We've seen it over and over again.
That's right.
So you want to get into the first one?
Yes. So the first one is there's no competition. So that's the key belief that you must adopt and see clearly, because it is a truth. The opposite would be there is competition. And when you think that as a psychic medium, you start to try to mirror other psychic mediums. You start to maybe take their ideas because you think, oh, it's working for them. Maybe it'll work for me. What I'm trying to say is you get out of your own soul. Yeah. You stop the creativity from flowing.
Right. And with this work, with your powerful mission, if you're in the space of thinking in your head what it looks like, and it looks good on the outside with the way that they're doing it, and I'm just going to replicate it, it's not going to work. Because with this mission, you actually have to tune back in and tune into the spirit realm too, and I feel like that's a big thing.
Yes, and if you owned a brick and mortar store in the 1900s, and say you owned a cheeseburger business, and then across the street was another cheeseburger business, yeah, you're in competition because there's only so many customers that are coming in. You're in more of a competition there. As a psychic medium, you have the online world. There's billions of people all around. All you need to do is just be yourself, because the service that you offer is sacred. And the way that Lindsay shows up in her mediumship business is going to be totally different the way that you show up in your mediumship business because of your life experiences. Right. Lindsay was a Catholic. That's part of her life experience. You've had many people book readings just from reading that off your website. So owning a teacher, owning exactly who you are and being yourself is going to attract your right people, because it's such a sacred experience that when people go and get readings, it's kind of like therapy or coaching. You don't want to just go to anybody. It needs to feel right in your heart. And you have a desire to be a psychic medium for a reason, because your people will say that, your clients, the people that you're impacting while you're here on earth, I believe that you were meant to come here and do that. That's why you have that desire, and your people will feel that.
Yeah, and it's reminding me of the example of one of our old masterminders. Right when the task was put your story out there, that's one of the tasks that we spoke about, the importance of sharing more of you when we're working with people. Share more of you in your story. Make a video that's geared towards why you do the work. And one of our masterminders was in the military, and he shared that on his page. And soon after, a client came to him. I'm not sure if you remember this. A client came to him and said, I actually am in the military, or I was in the military, and I noticed you were too. And it was just a reminder that he was the right fit for her. So this is a perfect example of when you show up in yourself and you do share a bit of your story, then people are going to respond to that. I also have a lot of teachers that come to me too for readings, because they know that I was a former third grade teacher. So whether they realize it on a conscious level or not, sometimes they'll actually bring it up, and other times I find out during the reading that I'm seeing that they are a teacher, and it's just confirmation.
Yes.
So it's interesting. And the same goes for coaching too. There's so many coaches out there. I mean, you're coaching people, you've worked with people too, and you recognize the power of personality. that every single coach has a different personality, has a different method, and they're going to bring out different things from the people that they come into contact with.
Yeah, exactly. And a perfect example of this is this podcast here.
Yeah.
Over the years, we've connected with people that became clients and lifelong clients, friends over time. Why? We ask them, and they tell us because we've watched your podcast. Yeah. We know your personality. We know what you believe. You believe similar stuff as us, and we feel safe learning with you with this specific area.
And then you have the opposite, the flip side of it, like, I don't resonate with their podcast. You're not the client. And I think that's the big thing is we've become okay with not being liked by everyone.
Well, because it needs to be that way.
Well, and if everyone liked what you were sharing, then obviously you weren't going deep enough. So that's a big thing that you have to think about when you're putting yourself out there with your business and your mission, that you can't just cater to everyone. I think at the very beginning of my mission, I was so focused on wanting to touch everyone. I want to talk about intuition with everyone. I want it to be males and females, and I want to make sure that everyone resonates with what I'm saying. I want to make sure it's understandable, but in the way that I wanted to be accepted. It was a different kind of energy at the beginning. I wanted to be accepted as the intuition expert for everyone. And the more I got into a niche and figured out who my customer was, the more I started to show up as who I am, I attracted my people.
Well, that's exactly it.
And I repelled the others.
It's polarity, and that's what happens. And the more that you know yourself and you do the deep work, the more that your ideal client is going to show up too.
Right.
That's another way to say it. And it's powerful that way because, as you all know, if you're already working psychic mediums, you know that having a client just pay you money for a reading is not the goal here, right? It's a business. You're making money. You don't just want any client. You've all had bad clients in the past. We'll call them bad clients. It just means that it doesn't resonate, right? It doesn't flow. And you need the right client, especially with this work. Once again, if you're selling cheeseburgers, you could hit a whole wide audience with that. And I'm sure you get more specific too. I don't own a restaurant, but just thinking like that, you could sell a cheeseburger to many people, right? With your psychic mediumship business, there's going to be a select niche that really resonates with you because it's doing deep work. You're going underneath the layers.
Well, it's almost like you are the brand. You're the personality behind it. So thinking about cheeseburgers, a perfect example is there's certain restaurants in Tampa, and we go to them. We're their ideal customer. And it might be a healthy cheeseburger place. And then they have another restaurant that's a healthy one. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Evo's.
Yeah, Evo's too. But who is the company that has, oh my gosh, they have Daily Eats, they have a few other restaurants. They're all the same brand. They're actually all, Daily Eats is the same owner.
Oh, they have a cheeseburger company too.
Yes, I think so.
So yeah, it's all, Lindsay and I are attracted to all of their restaurants because we are their ideal clients. Right. So even with the cheeseburger company, you have your ideal clients. But they don't have
the face of it.
Yeah.
It's just the energy behind it. So if you think about it like that, it's going to be a little bit different on a different level because we're not having coaching sessions in the restaurant. But when you're doing this work and your mission, you're going even deeper. And that's the point, right? It's like...
It is.
You're going so deep that sometimes when Tony's coaching, he's using examples of stories that he's had in his life to help and ignite a story or asking the right questions because he's been in the situation. And when I'm doing my mediumship and my psychic work, when I'm doing the mastermind and saying, okay, you can use these steps for your business, I've been through the hoops at different points. I'm still going through that. But I know I struggled with this. You don't need to. I can show you a shortcut. So it's something to think about.
Yeah, so remember, there's no competition. There's plenty of clients out there. Matter of fact, we're behind, right? We need more psychic mediums that are true, that are honest, that are heart-centered, that are really out there to heal people, to help them connect with their past loved ones. We need them working because there's many clients out there that aren't being served. So we're behind here. So just keep that in mind. Number 2 is you can feel like not enough at times and still have a highly successful psychic medium business that impacts thousands of lives.
Yeah. So this is a good point because there's so much behind the scenes work that is important too, right? About if you're not feeling good enough, think about who are you connected with, who are you surrounding yourself with, which we'll get into that later. But what work are you doing behind the scenes? And one of the quotes that comes up all the time is how you are showing up in public, like the recognition that you're receiving in public is all the work that you've done behind the scenes by yourself. So thinking about that, sometimes you can look on the outside and think, I don't feel good enough because I'm looking at how fast they're growing. But what are they doing behind the scenes, and what are you doing behind the scenes? You have to think about that too.
Yes, and you're comparing how you feel on the inside to how they look on the outside. It's not an equal comparison. I was watching an interview with Novak Djokovic the other day. He's he's literally the top tennis player on the planet, and he's been like that for I believe for the last 10 years. And the reporter said, "Hey, you have a gift of mindset. You have a gift of staying calm when all the pressure's on." And he corrected him. He said, "No. That's not a gift. I put in the work to do that. I use deep breathing. I use all these different techniques to make sure I stay centered when I'm on the court." And he says that when I'm on the court, I get those feelings of feeling like I'm not enough, feeling like, oh, I'm going to lose. All the human tendencies that we all feel and think, those thousands and thousands of year-old thoughts that are in the unconscious mind of humanity pouring into you. He said, I feel that still, but I don't stay there very long. I use these techniques, deep breathing, and he listed a couple of other techniques to get out of it and then get back in his power. And we've seen that same thing with all of our 90-day business masterminders, with people on Unlock Your Inner Medium. It's all the mediums that understand that it's okay to feel like you're not enough at times, but just don't live there. We all feel it, even the people you think that don't.
Yeah, and I was actually, that example that you gave with him, I was sharing that with, was it Unlock Your Inner Medium or Mediumship Mastery Circle? I was trying to figure out who it was, and that was so powerful to hear and listen to. Tony rewinded it, and I'm like, makes so much sense. That's a big thing that comes up when you're kind of stuck and you're not moving forward and you're in your head. You're not going to really go beyond that if you stay there and you start thinking, why am I thinking these thoughts? It's like, no, just take action, be aware of the thoughts, and keep going.
Yes, and that's exactly what Sylvester Stallone said in that documentary last night.
Oh yeah, Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, he was watching, he was talking about how he has all these insecurities, and what he does is he just prepares. He goes back to work and he prepares. And I've heard many people say that over the years, to where they have them, but preparation will help to ease those. Go put in the work. Go put in your mediumship practice. Go do the mindset. Because like we wrote in the copy of this, we believe, and we've watched it over and over in the programs that we work with the psychic mediums and coaches we work with, that it really is 80% mindset and 20% skill. We've seen pretty much, I'd say, all of the psychic mediums that come to us are really brilliant at giving readings. They're really powerful. We've seen mediums that are really powerful giving readings to where their business does not grow. And we've seen mediums that are they're good at giving readings. Maybe they're not on that same level as that other one, but their business grows exponentially. Mm-hmm. So just keep that in mind, that if you're trying to grow your coaching business or psychic medium business, and you're like, I'm putting in the work, I'm doing my skills, I'm doing the coaching sessions, I'm doing the readings, think about, are you doing that mindset development? Are you getting coaching? Are you helping people? Are you helping yourself go beneath the layers and figure out that programming, that internal programming inside of you? You have an algorithm that your system, your nervous system is playing out. Just like your iPhone, you update it once a month, once a quarter. You could update your algorithm, your nervous system within you. That's the 80%. And if you're not updating that 80%, you could go take all of these action steps and you'll wonder why. Why is my business not growing? You see it all the time in network marketing. People have the same product, the same marketing system in the same city with the same market, and yet 99% of people fail in that business. Why? It's that 80%. You could go in any business, any industry, and you'll see the same thing. So don't forget that 80%. And in our 90-day business mastermind and our Unlock Your Inner Medium programs, literally all of our programs, Mediumship Mastery Circle, we infuse that 80% into there because we've seen this play out over and over and over.
That's a missing link. That is the missing link. And everything you said is You've said it clearly very well to the point where I couldn't say it like that, but I want to add to that what you just said. It's reminding me of all the people that come to us that have taken thousands of mediumship classes or thousands of psychic classes, and they still don't feel ready to go after their mission. So they're like, I don't feel ready. I don't know if I should do this mission. I don't know if I am good enough to actually charge for my readings. And if you want it to be a mission, you want to be able to travel to touch more people, you're heart-centered, you're doing it with integrity, you're getting the results. If you're staying in the same spot, you're not really growing at the speed that you need to be growing at. So I think that's the biggest thing that I've noticed for people getting in their own way when it comes to this topic that we're talking about, or all around the mindset, is thinking I have to do more with my practice or take more classes. Yes, that's a component to it. Yes, you do need to do that. But you also need to know that you can't just stay there. You are going to be at a plateau, and there's going to be a point that you're actually going downhill. You know, you're going to be going downhill.
Exactly.
So that's a big thing.
And that's part of the 80% too, is like taking that uncomfortable action, right? That's part of the mindset. Like going live if you're scared to go live. Go and do your first group reading if that keeps calling you inside. Like, just go put it out there. And we work to get our clients to do that. Like, get into action mode if you're not in action mode. Because we've seen that pattern too, like Lindsay was saying. You just get caught up in learning. And I know that deep down inside, we all know, you know that you're doing it because you're really fucking scared. I can say that from experience. I've done that many times over the years to where I got in learning mode. And I knew as I was doing it, it was starting to feel stale. And I was like, no, I need to get out there and take action. And I know that I'm just trying to learn more and more because I'm fucking scared to take action. So sometimes you just got to go and do that next step. That's part of the mindset development. We're not talking about just meditating on a mountaintop.
Or reading a book.
Or reading a book or watching a video in the morning.
That's
like,
passive
cool
action.
shit. But take the insight that you get from it and take the tiniest action step from it. Anytime you're learning, like even from this podcast, don't just listen to it and be like, all right, I'm fired up. That sounds cool. That's all right. I'm clear now. Like, what's the next tiniest action step that you can take and be consistent at it? Like, have a 10-year vision, a 20-year vision with this. Because
comment underneath too. Like, if you're listening to it, we have so many people that send us private messages or share with us that they listen to our podcast. But engage. Tell us what's happening in your mind. Like, comment underneath so other people can go back and forth with you. We're creating a spot for you to know that there is a community here. Don't just send the messages to us. Comment underneath. Interact with each other. Like, that's what we love about our programs, is the interaction. That's where the growth happens too. It starts with the interaction. Then you go and you apply it. That's the biggest thing, is to apply it. You don't just sit passively and read a book or listen to a video. It's like, no, I'm here, I'm listening, I'm hearing you, I have this insight, someone else comments underneath, and you're interacting with each other. And that's our next point, right? About community.
Yes, so you're surrounded with like-minded people. That's the next belief that you need to adopt. So the first one, just to recap, there's no competition. The opposite of that would be there is competition and I have to compete. You don't have to. Believe it, see the truth that there's no competition. There's plenty of clients out there. Number two is you can feel not enough. You can feel all these human thoughts that come into you, all these fears, and you could still have a successful psychic medium. As a matter of fact, when you have your successful, many of you are already successful in your own eyes, you're still going to feel like not enough. I'll raise my hand. Lindsay, do you feel like not enough at times?
Oh, definitely.
I feel like not enough at times. Everybody feels like not enough at times. It's all the human programming from thousands and thousands of years. Number three, stay connected to like-minded people.
Yep. And this is huge. And I just want to say that they are, now all of a sudden we're seeing the comments. Well, Melinda commented before. You're welcome,
Melinda and Shannon.
And Tony. Tony says, Tony just called me out. And Shannon said, me too. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and insights. You are welcome, guys. We love having you in our groups too.
Yes.
Tony says, the imposter syndrome for me, it comes and goes. Yes, that is so normal for that wave to come, especially when you guys have moved at such a rapid speed. That's the reality of
And
it.
Tony and Shannon are moving at rapid speed.
They really are in a powerful way.
Action takers.
They're action takers. And this is what comes. And this is why we're so grateful that they're a part of our communities too. And being in a community means that this could be online, this can be in person, but interacting between these communities is going to up-level you even more, because when you're doing things on your own and you're isolated, you are not going to feel the same impact when you can actually share with the group and say, listen, I'm dealing with this. Or you hear someone else share and you're like, oh, they are dealing with it too. I see them in the light that they're confident and they know what they're doing, but they're experiencing that. So it almost unlocks something when we can share it. We actually just did something on Mediumship Mastery Circle the other day where I had my members come to the group, like the third Tuesday of every month. We practice together and we do a topic at the beginning. And one of the things that I had them do was, I want you to share all of the celebrations that you've had for your client readings. And I shared two. I shared my own personal ones. And then I want you to share all of the moments that you felt were negative moments, like the worst experience for a reading for you. And in that worst experience, share the golden nugget, the lesson that came from that experience and how it affected future readings for you because you had that experience. And I'm telling you, that was such a powerful experience to be able to share with each other of like-minded people that knew what the other person was going through. And what we found was there was a common thread. There was a common theme, like, thank you for sharing that story. That actually happened to me. Or thank you for letting me dodge the bullet because I know that I can receive your golden nugget and not have to go through it.
Exactly. And that's what happens when you call it out. Like Tony said, Tony Reed just said, Tony, you called me out because I'm really calling myself out. Like, we're sharing from experience. We feel everything we talk about in this podcast, we feel too. We feel the same thing. We're not here saying, oh, other people are feeling this, but we're not. Everybody feels this. And that's what's powerful about putting it out, like in words,
right.
Writing it out, because you start to recognize those patterns. And when you recognize those patterns, now you can use those patterns more effectively. Before, you were using those patterns to compound and bring yourself down. I feel like not enough. I'm feeling fear. I didn't take action. Now you could be like, no, this is normal. I'm going to build on this. And like what Lindsay was saying, what can I learn from this? What action step can I take from this? And you're going the opposite direction. You're compounding that way. If you look at any industry, you'll see, like I've been watching a lot of Jerry Seinfeld. At least I did over the summer. I need to go back to it. And what I noticed is Jerry Seinfeld, a comedian, on his way up, who was he surrounding himself with? Other comedians. He was in comedy clubs. He was going to have drinks with other comedians. He was networking. He was connecting. And I watched it on, I forget what documentary it was, but I could see it bird's eye view. I'm like, that was part of his success. Yes. That was part of what brought him up, because he was surrounded by other people and they were having these conversations, like Lindsay was saying, that she is having a mediumship mastery circle, realizing, oh, you feel that way too. How can we build off that? How can we grow? Rather than being isolated, thinking that you're just living on this little island by yourself and you're just the only one feeling all these fears and like you're not enough. And we're here to tell you that's not the truth.
Yeah. And it's reminding me of Steve Martin too, which I don't know the exact story, so I don't want to say the wrong job, but he started to sell guidebooks in Disneyland or Disney World. But the other thing that he did was he wanted to be a comedian, and he started small. I don't know if he was a janitor or he did something like a stagehand or what it was, but he was surrounded by comedians. And he did that, and then there was moments where there was nobody that showed up in the audience when he decided to test it out and be a comedian. I think he was able to be on the stage for like 2 minutes, and he did that for years. And there were times where nobody was there, and he just kept building up. And he put himself in that environment, and that's the best thing that you can do.
Yes, it is. So think about that in your own business. Think about how can you create more community in your own business. Like as Lindsay and I, we built out these programs, and we're surrounded by all kinds of amazing people who are psychic mediums and coaches. Like that's like we would hang out there for free. Like we would pay to go to places like that. Think about in your own business, how can you create community where you would actually pay to go there? Think about it outside of your business? How can you create community to where you could go out and get support? Like Lindsay and I, we were just in a 6-day program surrounded by all other entrepreneurs who have very similar beliefs as us and who are going in a similar direction, who want to keep growing. And just being part of a community like that, you just skyrocket. In 6 days, it feels like we literally it felt like years. It felt like years because that's what happens. And you start to really compound your knowledge. Like, it's one thing to read about it, to watch a video at home, but when you're immersed with other people who are literally going the same way.
And you have to write out the answers and really dig deep in your soul. That's a huge thing.
It is. So you think about like each brain as a battery pack. You put all of those brains together, and then it just increases the power. We call it the power of the mastermind effect, right? When two or more come together, you start to attract the second mind, and everything starts to flow. You start to have more ideas come to you that you wouldn't have otherwise. So surround yourself with like-minded people. That's all we're trying to say.
Yeah. And William says, hi, William. He said, we lift each other up. And that's
right,
so
William.
true. That's so true. So we've loved being with you guys today. We hope that you've received some insights. I know someone out there has, because we've heard some comments underneath here too. And we can't wait to see you next time. Before we go, I want to share a couple things. One thing is our 90-day business mastermind. We only have 3 spots left for it. If you are someone that's done the mastermind before, you want to repeat and do it again, there's new people, new experiences, you're at a new level in your life, feel free. We would love to have you again. If you're brand new, apply. Let us know why you think that you're a good fit for the mastermind. This is for psychic mediums, healers, people that might even be coaches, that are connected in the helping field, that are open to the spiritual concepts, okay? The other thing that I want to share is retreats coming up in April. Anyone that's a student of ours, like in the mediumship programs, you are able to sign up for the retreat.
Or if you've been through our business mastermind.
Yes.
Any of our programs, pretty much.
This is the 7th year that we are doing our psychic mediumship retreat. It's transformative for us. It's transformative for our clients. We always have repeat retreat attendees that have been maybe years before or the year before, because it's so transformative. And it's not just because we're leading it. It's because of the energy that an organism that's been created, that we've built over the years, and the people that come there. This isn't just for anyone. This is for people that we know. We would love to have you. What else? Level 3. So actually level 3 is coming up too. So if you want more information about Unlock Your Inner Medium level 3, that will be coming up in about, I think it's 7 weeks. So if you have any questions, reach out to us, and you can get all that information at lindsaymarino.com. Our business mastermind is on there, and then tonycmitchell.com. Have a beautiful day,
Cheers.
guys. Bye.
Wizard of Oz.